Well, thank you everybody for coming here today in the House Ante Rooms. Great day to be a Montanan. It's already spring. That's always good. That's what we live for, right? It's coming to spring. But we just passed off the House floor here. Over $1 billion worth of infrastructure going straight to Montana. These funding of the infrastructure projects, it's the very definition of what it means to put Montana's money to work for you. The House just made a major step forward with this $1 billion, over $1 billion, directed to infrastructure projects across the Treasure State. Since the beginning of this session, the House Appropriations Committee has worked some long hours, done some great job down there in the basement, drafting a group of infrastructure bills that were just passed on the House floor here today. The committee examined each of these proposed projects and eliminated those that couldn't be completed on time. And as of today, we have enough funding for our most important projects for years to come. This legislation includes projects from Dillon to Culbertson and Libby to Miles City. You can see the map here that reflects numerous projects that have been funded across our great state. It was $1.4 billion of infrastructure money that was just passed off the House floor. Wastewater treatment systems in Cook City, Denton, and Hot Springs. Water treatment systems in Basin, Geraldine, and Ritchie. Bridge repairs in the counties of Beaverhead, Bighorn, and Webo. Additionally, we have addressed ongoing concerns about the necessary improvement and repairs to our state facilities, such as the Montana Hospital in Warm Springs, Lewistown, and Columbia Falls, as well as Montana prisons in Deer Lodge, Warm Springs, and Miles City. Some of these improvements include restoring the prison housing infrastructure and enhancing prison security to keep Montana safe. As House Republicans, we will always use your taxpayer money to put the people of Montana first. We are proud of these efforts to put Montana's money to work for you by funding these important and necessary infrastructure projects. And here to talk about some of these important infrastructure projects is the chair of Section F, that this is all his handiwork. We got Representative Mike Hopkins. He's the sponsor of House Bills 5 through 8. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Representative Hopkins.
All right. Well, first, thank you to the speaker. As he mentioned, what you are looking at is a historic investment in Montana infrastructure. So to start with, I want to make sure and thank Governor Gianforte for his leadership here. As I said on the House floor, the governor came into this session and put forward a recommendation that reflects a historic chance to repair and replace infrastructure across the state of Montana. I'm really grateful for that leadership there. In addition, I want to thank Speaker Regier and Majority Leader Vinton and Pro Tem Knudsen. It makes a really big difference when you got folks on the leadership team that are there, that are involved, and that are there to help out. So most of all, I want to thank not just Section F and the Appropriations Committee, but I want to thank the people of Montana. People of Montana had a choice during the last election season, and they chose to send 68 Republicans here to Helena to get stuff done. And as you look at House Bills 5 through 12, what you see is that Republican majority delivering for the people of Montana. Not only is this going to mean cleaner drinking water for the people of Montana, not only is it going to mean better irrigation, not only is it going to mean cleaner rivers, cleaner parks, not only is it going to mean more modernized education facilities for your children to be able to get a solid education to prepare them to compete in what is easily the most competitive world that's ever existed on planet Earth. And not for nothing, while they're getting that education, these infrastructure dollars are going to make sure that they're able to stay warm during the winter, they're able to stay cool during the summer. If you've ever taken any sort of lessons in one of those outdoor trailers, you would understand that's a pretty big deal when it comes to retaining information. These dollars are going to make sure that individuals are able to access the kind of care that they need to be able to access. These dollars are going to make sure that our correctional staff out there in the state of Montana have a safer environment to work in and have access to additional security measures. I can't stress enough what a big opportunity this is for the state of Montana. And so again, I'd like to thank Governor Greg Gianforte. I'd like to thank the Speaker. I'd like to thank the Majority Leader and the Pro Tem. This is a really historic opportunity for the people of Montana, and I'm really grateful to be allowed to be part of that process. So with that, if anybody's got questions, more than happy to answer them, but that would be my spiel, as it were.
And as you talk about this being historic, how does it compare to how much was passed last session through these programs? You know offhand?
When I say historic, I am certainly not minimizing things. It is substantially bigger than what we passed during the last legislative session, to the tune of hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Additionally, obviously we talk about dollars with these type of bills, with these type of programs, but what's really important is the individual projects that those dollars are going to be going to fund. And the dollars that we are putting towards projects here this session, it's a drastic improvement in the amount of work that we're going to be able to get done from the previous legislative session. And I was pretty happy with the previous legislative session.
Is it more than last session if you factor in all the ARPA money from last session too?
If you were to factor in all the ARPA money, I think that it would be pretty competitive. That was a rather substantial amount of money there for water and sewer projects and broadband build-out. But if you were to just look at the work of Section F by itself in a regular session and compare it to this session, you would see some pretty dramatic differences.
So in terms of the work that's being done with state dollars?
Absolutely.
Section F is admittedly not my area of expertise, but I'm remembering just a couple sessions ago, infrastructure was really contentious debate. I'm thinking of 2018. What's the difference now? We saw a lot of 100-0 votes today.
Yeah, so it certainly, when you're in the legislative session for a number of sessions, trying to work in specific areas for Section F and for infrastructure in general, we have certainly spent multiple sessions renovating the way that the state of Montana does infrastructure to begin with. There, for instance, is now a cap on the total amount of debt that the state of Montana can carry at any one time. That framework from the 2019 session really aided us as we were coming together in 2021, and I don't think that it's too much to say that it is in large part responsible for the way that we treat infrastructure in the state of Montana here in the legislature today. So it's a big difference. And not for nothing, but a whole lot of the folks that are standing here with me today were there for those changes and there for that changing process. And the people of Montana are far better off for it. All right, well, if there's no more questions, I'll go ahead and turn it back over to the speaker. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks. Absolutely.
I'll just add a few things to that. I know that a lot of the legislators, especially here in the House, had heard from the public two different things. We got an unprecedented amount of surplus dollars that came in, and I think that a lot of that was over collected from the taxpayer, and we took care of that first. We sent a lot of the rebate checks are coming back. We took care of the taxpayer first. We also heard at the doors to take care of critical infrastructure needs from the state, and we did that with the House Bill 5 here in the capital development. It was over $500 million just in that in House Bill 5. So we're addressing not just the taxpayer, which we took care of first, but also the critical infrastructure needs here in Montana. I can add on to what Chairman Hopkins did is Chairman Schillinger down there in Approps on Section C. I mean, he put in over $1 billion, $1,096 million into Montana Department of Transportation for roads and continuing construction there. Montana ranks third in the United States for miles of road per capita. We're just behind North and South Dakota. So it's very important that we keep our roads going and invest in our infrastructure. And we did that right after we took care of the taxpayers. And I think this is a big success, not just for the legislature, but ultimately the people we're here to serve, and that's the people of Montana. So just to add that on. So if there's any more questions, also, I know the majority leader is ready to answer anything. No. Yeah. Used to be on a probe, so. No, good. Well, thank you all for coming. Sure appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Nice job.